Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Mess. So today we're going to be continuing the series on the MiSTer FPGA DE10 Nano project, and today we're going to be doing some more turbo core testing because people have been getting some very interesting results on games that do not work on the standard core. And if you can't tell already, and you should know this because you clicked on the thumbnail, we're going to be testing Resident Evil 2 today on the turbo core because people have reported multiple instances of playing this game for 2, 3, 4, and 5 hours without ever seeing a single crash. So I'm going to play it for a bit, see if it does anything weird. We can discuss whether or not you can finish Resident Evil. If you get too far involved, it'd be a huge favor. Go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to want to support that channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But I know in the previous video when I said the games that wouldn't work, that Resident Evil 2 is obviously available on the PlayStation 1. This is still a fun version. Maybe I downplayed it a bit in that video, but I understand there's reasons to want to love this version of the game, and I want it to work for each and every one of you. Now in my testing, and you'll see throughout the video, everything just seems to be working at the start. It used to be in earlier cores you could freeze this thing in the first 30 to 60 seconds or first couple screen transitions. Now that seems to be completely different, but you will see here I'm taking damage, and that is intentional because I want to get Leon into a caution state. I am doing this all as one capture, so I want you to see the progression, and I am intentionally going to kill Leon just to make sure that the saving and loading works as well. As we get into Kendo's gun shop here, this is normally in the previous cores, especially non-turbo, where I could not get past whatsoever. If this cutscene started, it would somehow freeze and basically just never progress. You'd get some audio playing for a while, but it would not work past that. On today's turbo core, I am getting past it. You're seeing the zombies come through the window, and that's what he gets for pulling a gun on me after all. He has been mauled to death, and we can grab a shotgun after we shoot these zombies down, or you can just run forward and ignore the shotgun. It was kind of one of those fun, not quite Easter eggs, but bonus challenges in the original Resident Evil 2. And this is just seeming to hold up. I've never gotten this far into the game on captures, and if you've seen in previous testing videos, I don't think I've ever shown beyond this whatsoever as far as my own captures were concerned. But we are progressing through this. Now I did talk to other people as well and kind of got a little bit of a culmination of their results, but I will tell you those towards the end of the video because I want this to be as close to a real-time test as I can do without actually streaming this on YouTube or Twitch. And as we move through, I'm definitely cutting off areas, but that's why I'm going to take a little bit more damage here soon to make sure you can see the progression, although I'm sure you'll take me at my word that this is one capture. There's no benefit for me trying to hide any crashes. And I've always loved this bus sequence here as well. It splits the level up into, and it puts you into such a narrow corridor. It forces you to actually encounter and fight these zombies in your way, because for the most part, almost all the zombies you've seen up until this point in time, you've been able to run past. And that really is the name of the game in Resident Evil, avoiding the enemies when you can and conserving that ammo. But you'll see all the way through the bus here, I did have a cut in the middle that I faded through. We are still perfectly fine. I was waiting for this thing to crash at any moment in time. It seemed like a lot would be on screen transitions, but sometimes if a zombie would grab me and go in for the attack, that is when it would crash as well on previous cores. And now Leon is finally into that caution state, holding his abdomen and running a little bit slower, so you can tell the kind of the progression of this overall test. I have never personally seen the inside of the Raccoon City Police Department on any of these cores, but people told me with the Turbo core, the most recent one, they were getting really far into the game. So that is what we're checking out here. The door is open, and you're going to see this scene is unfolding in real time. This is my first look at the inside of the RCPD. So to say that this core is doing a decent job is so far ringing true. And of course, I do want to be able to save here and then reload after I intentionally kill Leon, because I want to see how that affects the overall stability as well. I'm going to be menuing fast, doing a lot of different things like I would normally play the game if I was just sitting on my couch. When I play games for capture, I definitely play them in a different way because I want to elongate the footage and kind of have more material to talk about in front of me in real time. This is more like me actually just playing a game where I will fast menu and basically try to get in and out of the menus as quick as possible, because who wants to really hang out in there? But as we come up to this cutscene as well, where Leon's party has unfortunately been cancelled, even still, in the current turbo core, I've encountered no issues with this whatsoever. It is just holding up, and that's very interesting. If you want, I can test some of the other games that are crashing on the turbo core to see if we can get further, except for Jet Force Gemini, because that one has been confirmed to just not be functional across every single iteration of every single version of the core. But the great part is too, all the audio here is intact and it sounds good. I'm going to give you like a 30-second sample. I'll come back and talk more about why this crashes and see whether or not I could get it to do so. So it sounds pretty good, or it sounds good for the Nintendo 64 version, but the audio in here definitely is stepped down compression-wise compared to other versions of the game. But the most important takeaway is we're into the RCPD, we're fighting zombies, we're collecting items, and we are still crash-free. I got to a save point, which means you can at least get this far. Let's see how much further we can get. And just so you know, this is not going to culminate in me showing you the credit scroll of the game. I wish I had enough time to try to beat this entire thing, and I will continue along outside of videos playing it to see how it goes, but this is basically just the intro to the game here, and you'll see that I'm taking a little bit more damage. This is the room that I'm going to kill Leon in, so I can make sure that it doesn't crash on any sort of end game. I can get back to the menu, reload the game, and continue where I want. So the real question is, what is your tolerance for something like this? I'm very curious. For me personally, if you can beat this game, but there are a couple crashes here and there and you lose a little progress, I don't mind that whatsoever. But I often play retro PC games trying to run them on Windows 10, and they crash all the time when I jump right back into them. So it might be something that I'm used to and don't mind. But you'll see here Leon's party is over as well for himself, and now we're going to go in and load the game. We still have that same caution state, and that's why I did leave it there so you know it's one capture. And we're going to take the other branch of the RCPD here. I'm going to pick up notes. I'm going to go into the item box. I'm going to basically use every single menu, option, and otherwise item I find in the game, because perhaps something is going to make it more prone to crashing than other things. That's kind of how you test these things organically. You just do everything you possibly can to see if there is any sort of reaction or freezing thereof. You'll see here I've got all of the items out of the box, and I am playing this on easy just so I don't end up inadvertently dying in a place I don't want to, because I do have limited time for all of these captures. It is very busy making 2 videos a day. But you'll see here as we move forward, the next hallway is going to have a different situation. It's going to have an FMV, and I am now showing you that I'm using the healing spray so you know why I'm no longer in that condition state in the next room. As we come up here, we saw the liquor go across the window, and as we come around the corner, we're going to encounter a pool of blood. That triggers an FMV. It is quick, but it is a change going from in-game to showing that compressed FMV on the screen itself. I kind of thought this might be the area in which it crashed, and the transition is a little bit strange. I'd have to check real hardware on that, but the FMV sequence does play. You can see the liquor's introduction. This was classic in the game as well. Leon's FMV model there, though, definitely has aged. And once this FMV is over and you come out of it, you're going to see we're returned right back to the gameplay, and there's been no issue whatsoever. And if you've never played Resident Evil 2, take my word for it. It's best just to run by him. Don't take too much damage and just keep moving on, because he's definitely an ammo dump and he will drain your clip if you let him. Now in this room, not trying to spoil too many things, but at this point in time, if you don't know how Resident Evil 2 goes, I would be very surprised. We're going to take out the lighter and have an in-engine cutscene. Nothing here has been a problem either, so I'll tell you the first result as far as asking other people. The first answer I got from somebody who I know, they played this game for 4 hours on Leon's campaign until they got the first freeze. They reloaded the game and they're continuing to play it as we speak. So that's what the situation is for one person. Now your results may vary, my results may vary. No one's certain what actually causes the crash to happen, but what seems to be a culprit is that RAM issue. It seems to be trying to read or write to an address that it can't access in the right amount of time, and that basically creates a halt state on the CPU. That's the presumption. I'm not stating it as fact. I'm just telling you what I think is happening. But what's currently happening on the screen is we're still just playing Resident Evil 2, and I've been able to access more than one typewriter and save my game. So even if I saw a crash right here, I really would only be losing maybe 2 to 3 minutes at the most. I understand that as you get later into the game, those typewriters and ink ribbons become a little bit sparser, and you definitely wouldn't want to try to 1cc speedrun this thing on the core, because if you're not making any saves whatsoever, if a crash does occur, it's going to set you right back to the title screen. So this is not the type of thing that you're going to try to challenge on. If you want to do a 1cc run of Resident Evil 2, you 100% want to be over on the PlayStation 1 core side of things. but I am hyper impressed with the performance I am getting out of this. I've gone to basically every single room in the first area. I've read every note, picked up every inventory item, used them, combined them, shot a bunch of zombies, had a bunch of different effects on screen at once, taken a death and reloaded, and the game is just playing like it is real hardware. Now, I'm not here to say that you're going to get an entirely crash-free situation in Resident Evil 2, but it seems to be like a possibility. There's going to be a blessed run out there where somebody gets from the beginning of the end of this game without probably seeing a single crash. If that happens by the time I put this video out to air, it'll probably be a week from now, I will let you know in the comments down below. But in my capture, I'm currently at minute 35, even though we're only at minute 10 in the video, and that's just because I kind of let things drag on, let some loading sequences go a little longer, went back and forth between doors multiple times to see if I could break it. Basically, I played the game in a manner in which it was never supposed to be played, just to see if I could kind of trip it up, and I was not able to in any way, shape, or form. Even as we run back through this hallway and all the zombie arbs grab us, there's been no issue present whatsoever, and I now get revenge on the zombie that killed me the first time, even if I took that damage intentionally. And you will see here that the combination of this safe is not the same as your luggage. It is not 1 1 1 1 1 1, it is 4 5 4 2, in case you were curious. But I already have the shotgun, I've got no open inventory slot, so I'm going to have to leave that for another time. And as we head back out here trying to go to the roof, the door is locked, and I am just playing this game like you would expect it to. And honestly, it's about this point in time in which I stopped thinking about the crashes and realized I was just having fun playing Resident Evil 2 again. Because it's probably been 3 or 4 years since I played through this game on its original version. I have, of course, played the remake, but I haven't put this maybe since 2018 or 2019 into any one of my systems. And now here today on the Turbo core, I've gotten this far and there's been no issue whatsoever. So this is definitely a playable experience. I can't call it perfect, but it definitely is something that I feel like is working well enough on the core that you're going to be able to enjoy it. And I'll tell you the other bit of information I've been given by somebody on Discord. They are 5 hours into the game. They haven't seen a single crash whatsoever so far. They're almost to the end of Leon's campaign on the North American version, which I am testing here on the Turbo core. Is it possible they're going to get to the end credits and not have a crash whatsoever? It seems like it's a possibility, but if I had to guess, they'll probably be 10 minutes away from finishing the game and something will cause a crash, so we don't actually have a confirmed run in without any crashing. But I basically got 45 minutes into the game with no problems whatsoever, and I will go back to this in my spare time and play through some more because I have a crash-free run going so far, and I'm basically maybe like 15% of the way through the game. And honestly, if it crashed here, I wouldn't have that big of an issue with it because I'm able to come back up after all of this progress, run back to the typewriter, and throw another save in. That way, if it does crash, I can just pick up where I left off because obviously the crashing doesn't seem to do anything to the save data. It's there the next time you come back. So if you want to play Resident Evil 2 on the Turbo Nintendo 64 core today on MiSTer FPGA, just do it. Maybe it'll crash once, maybe it'll crash 3 times, maybe it'll never crash. But to call this game unplayable would not be true. It is not perfect, but people wanted me to test this on the Turbo core. I heard that it was doing a lot better with the new core, and I'm here to tell you, at least in my experience for the first section of the game, it was absolutely flawless. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.